Welcome back. Lots more still to come on Daily Planet's Dissecting Disaster.
I should emphasize, this area is still not safe. This is not a tourist attraction.
Predicting the unpredictable with a warning system for sinkholes.
Plus, bagging and tagging asteroids. NASA's way of saving us all from Earth-bound debris.
But right now on Dissecting Disaster, we're turning our attention to one of the most violent volcanic eruptions in recorded history, Indonesia's infamous Mount Krakatau.
Now, most people know it as Krakatoa, but the correct pronunciation is Krakatau. And today, August 26th, just so happens to be the exact date back in 1883 that it blew its top and shocked the world.
And it didn't just decimate an island, but left an estimated 40,000 people dead. For Dissecting Disaster, we met the person finding out if this mega volcano has any plans to repeat history.
Krakatau is the mother of all natural disasters. 130 years ago, the volcano exploded, announcing itself loud and clear.
The 1883 eruption is actually one of the best known eruptions in the world. It was the first where modern human society actually was aware of what's going on.
Telegraph machines spread the word. The messages were short but clear.
Within days of the event, the whole world knew something happened and it affects us all.
Could a terrifying event like this happen again?
Well, it's a very lively volcanic system.
For Professor Valentin Troll from Sweden's Uppsala University, it's not a matter of if, but when.
So, and the big question is, how will Krakatau behave in the future?
I wish I could be more positive than what I will say now, but I think we will have another disaster.
And it seems that the volcano is building up a new kind of magma system that aims towards an 1883 style eruption.
Like a bad Hollywood movie, Krakatau gave birth to a new volcano in 1927, Anak Krakatau. It's still fueling up.
Yes, Anak Krakatau, the new cone growing inside the volcano, it's scientifically extremely interesting because it marks the birth of a new cycle for Krakatau.
Valentin brings his team to ground zero.
The cone is extremely lively. It grows at a staggering rate of between 8 and 13 centimeters a week, which is one of the fastest growing edifices on the planet.
It's a dangerous trek. They're one of the few research teams to make the journey.
When you approach it, there's some magic aura about it. You can really see that it's a special place also geographically. The impact of the eruption becomes dramatically obvious to you when you're standing there.
It's a natural disaster in the making. They want to see if there's a way to predict when Krakatau will erupt again.
If you look at a system like Krakatau, we struggle, of course, looking under the volcano.
They can't go underground, but they can gather rocks that have been spewed out.
Here's the new sound.
They bring them back to Sweden for analysis.
Let's have a look right away.
There's little fragments.
These ordinary-looking rocks may contain the answers Val's searching for.
But it's got the crystals.
What will Krakatau do in the future? Step by step, they grind each one down to a size they can understand, microscopic particles.
We use little crystals, for example, like flight recorders. Like tree rings, they record the environmental changes the magma experiences.
So this is a really cool crystal.
We can work out how long the crystal took to grow. So how long is an individual crystal actually residing in the system? Oh, that looks really good.
They're searching for a pattern.
We see how the system changes. And by having enough of these snapshots, we can actually make an extrapolation. That will likely improve our predictions. That is coming up there, so it's very nice.
If they can detect a rhythm, maybe they can help us properly prepare for the next big one.
I think we still have a lot to learn in order to cope with situations of this scale.
The Krakatau explosion was catastrophic. Nothing in recent history compares.
To put this in context, the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa was on the order of 26 cubic kilometers. So we're talking factor more than 20 bigger than Mount St. Helens, just to give you a feel for this.
Krakatau cracked the air, creating the loudest sound ever recorded, said to be 13 times louder than the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima.
The blast was still heard in Australia. The pressure wave traveled around the world several times.
Then the entire volcano collapsed, disappearing into the ocean.
And this would have caused a lot of water to splash in.
a huge wave that was traveling outwards. This bottleneck has become even tighter. That means all the pressure will be channeled into this tiny little outlet.
It created a tsunami nearly 13 stories high.
Estimated that something like almost 40,000 people were killed by the tsunami in this part of Indonesia alone.
One reason Krakatau remains so dangerous is the fact the volcano sits smack dab on the middle of a fault line.
Krakatau is a somewhat special volcano. Geographically, it lies in a slightly odd spot. We have Java on the one side and Sumatra on the other. There is the Indian plate subducted underneath the Eurasian plate. So we have actually a fracture in the earth that rips itself open a little bit, and that allows magma to come up a little easier than in the other places.
No one can stop Mother Nature in the future, but in the lab, Valentin and his team can peer into the past.
I've got a really nice example here for you of one of these frothy foreign sedimentary fragments we find in the Anak Krakatau lavas.
It reveals a clue to what makes Krakatau so explosive. It's made up of a lot of wet rocky material.
The sediments itself are the icing on the cake, if you will. We have a lot of bubbles forming. Water will be converted to steam. And steam takes up 1,000 times more volume than water. And that causes this expansion, like a little extra jet engine, making Krakatau that little bit more dangerous than all the other 129 volcanoes in Indonesia.
1883 was the first Krakatau eruption in recorded history, but it's believed to have exploded in 550 AD as well.
The impression we get is that people in Indonesia had seen an 1883-style eruption before.
And it will erupt again. But predicting natural disasters is not a perfect science.
By any reckoning, we would have something like 1,000 to maybe 1,200 years if Krakatau keeps its rhythm.
It sounds like a long time to prepare, but in the overall scheme of things, it's a heartbeat.
But geologically, it's really tomorrow, and that means we should start getting ready for this so that we get out of harm's way when it really comes.
And those are definitely words to live by.
Yeah, that's a big volcano.
Okay, now Krakatau, I can't say Holy Krakatoa anymore, it has to be Holy Krakatau. Well, that isn't the only volcano that we have our sights set on this week. Tomorrow, in fact, we're taking you to the top of Italy's Mount Etna to check out a bulging volcanic cone that volcanologists are very alarmed by.
Coming up next,
This is not a safe location to be in, and we need to be very careful.
we catch up with a man whose job it is to find sinkholes before they happen. But is that even possible?
If there is the slightest hint that a collapse might occur, alarms will go off.
That's after the break on Dissecting Disaster.